Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Sean Strickland. I got Pastor Edwin, my super cute husband, Pastor Edwin here. And this is what I need you to do. I need you to hashtag, I need you to hashtag live and tell me where you're watching from. But I also need you to get everybody on this live. We want to talk about the amazing difference that our Facebook friends and covenant partners helped us make. And we just want everybody to be here for this. So listen, babe, I don't know if you shared it in your story yet, but you should do that. I'm going to go ahead and share it to my story because I think that everybody needs to hear what is going on because it's an amazing day.
I did officially share it to my story.
And now I got to share it to... Let me share one more place and then we can get to talking about what happened.
And how amazing all of our Facebook friends and family are.
Absolutely. All right, so we're glad to see so many of you. We want you to keep tagging, keep sharing, whatever. We're super excited this morning. We want to give you a little bit of a backstory. Erica, you already know what we're talking about because you woke up hyped this morning too. And so basically, you know, yesterday, one of our kids sent me a message and said, hey, is there any way you could give to this GoFundMe to keep my one of his best friends in school? So I pull up the GoFundMe and the GoFundMe has been up. Babe, you don't know this part. The GoFundMe has been up for 24 hours and nobody's given to it. And I was like, man, this is not going to work. There's no way this kid is going to be able to stay in school. So I say to you, I give you an update on what's going on. We say to our kid, hey, can you get this young man with you? Let's get on FaceTime and let's have a conversation about it. And so really what we wanted to do, because one of the things we do, and here is just a tip when you got, just to clarify when you're helping people. So when God just tells us to give, like when God just had us to give to the guy at the restaurant, we don't really ask any questions for the future, like what are you going to do next? Our only objective is to do what God told us in the moment. But when our hearts get stirred to give, we want to dig a little deeper and we want to ask more questions. Because Pastor Edwin and I were just talking about this, that and I want you guys to realize this, and if you've ever been in this situation, it's probably going to resonate with you, that most people who are in trouble do not ask for what they actually need. They ask for what they think they can get. Right, babe?
Exactly.
And so a lot of times when people are repeatedly asking, you can start to feel like, oh, you know, they're not managing well. But here's a good example. When they ask you for light bill help, they didn't tell you that the full amount, they told you the past due amount. And one of the things that we have just tried to practice, in 22 years of ministry, but especially in the last 5 years, is that in reality, if somebody needs help with their rent and it's after the 10th of the month, they're probably going to need help the next month, right? And the other thing that we really practice is the power of community. So let me keep going with the story. We talked to the young man. The young man has a good goal. He comes from a family. His mom is doing the best she can. He has younger siblings. He wants to be able to graduate so that he can be able to get his family in a better situation. That personally resonated with me because my grandmother raised me, and a lot of my goal was about getting in a better situation to be able to help her because I knew how hard she was working. So his story probably really, really resonated with me. Well, anyway, long story short, when we start digging into this story, we find out that this kid has always done good in school, but the problem really started last semester. Mm-hmm. And it started last semester because there was a delay in his financial aid. When there was a delay in his financial aid, he lost his housing. When he lost his housing, he was trying to stay in school and not go home. So he had a friend that would let him stay with him. The problem is that the friend who let him stay with him lived 30 minutes from campus and he didn't have a car. You already know if he doesn't have the money for this, he doesn't have the money for Uber. So what he tried to do all last semester, which if you think about it is really commendable, is that he's trying to juggle rides. So sometimes our kid is the kid that's picking him up. Other kids are picking him up. But now we get into a problem because sometimes there are times that people can get him to campus, but they cannot get him back in order to get to work. So he's having to choose between whether going to class or whether he's going to go to work.
And he was working 2 jobs.
And it makes me just teary just thinking about it, because here it is, a kid who is really trying to create a better life, and he just doesn't have enough resources, right? So anyway, he ends up finishing the semester, but he doesn't have a great GPA, which then is going to cause them to delay his financial aid even more. Well, he got relentless and he started talking to people. He even got a teacher to drop something to fix a grade so that he could qualify for financial aid. He was like, I can't go home. I have to get a degree. I have to be able to help my family, which is how our son got us involved in it. So when we're talking to this young man, we're like, we are going to help him. He is going to school. And we find out that the total balance is like $8,500, but the immediate need is $2,200. Now, here's the way it works for maybe if you haven't been to college in a while, or if you didn't go to college. He had to pay the balance in order to be able to get housing. Getting housing was imperative because he can't be off campus again because he doesn't have transportation.
And not just that, he was in school, in the way at least this university works. And I've talked to a lot of people. Apparently it works that way, not just at HBCU. So I don't want to hear this just the HBCU issue, because I've heard from people who said it happens at PWIs as well, that at a certain time, even if your financial aid hadn't processed, if you haven't paid for your classes, they withdraw you from the classes. And so this young man was withdrawn from his classes, but I loved his tenacity. He was like, I'm going to keep going to class because I don't want to get behind, even if I'm not officially on the roster. And for me, when he said that, I knew I was going to help him. So my issue yesterday was, we'll figure out the rest of the money. What is it going to take to pay your back book fees? What is it going to pay for us to make a payment so that you can get your classes back? And then what do we need to do so that we can get you into housing so that you can be on campus? And I was even committed. I told you, I'm committed to helping him so he doesn't have to work 2 jobs, because if you've ever been to college working 50 hours a week and taking 15 or 18 hours and expected to keep your grades up past a 3-point is not the easiest thing when you don't have a car to even get back and forth. And so after hearing his story, I have a pretty good sense of discernment. He wasn't pulling our leg. He wasn't even asking us for help. He was asking us, did we know how to figure out what he could do? He didn't come asking for a handout. And so at that point, I just knew I was going to do what I could. And so you and I, we talked about it and we got together and we paid that initial money for the back book fee. And we paid for the money for him to be reinstated so that he could get back into his classes so he could work out his payment plan going forward. And that's what we shared yesterday.
No, it makes me so teary because you think about this, guys. He got dropped from his classes, but he took a screenshot of his schedule and he went to class anyway, dude.
All of them.
Went to class anyway. Latanya, I'm teary too because I'm like, do you understand the kind of commitment you got to have to say, I don't even know if the money's going to be there, but I'm going to go to class because in case they work it out, he said I wasn't going to be behind in my class. No, Chandra, he really was relentless. And so, one of the things that we talked about is that he's not a senior, so he still has other semesters. So we said to him, listen, here's what we need from you because we want you to know the ask. We said, we need you to check in with us every other week, and we need to know if you get behind, because at this point he was still going to work 2 jobs to try to pay the $1,000 a month, right? And Robin, I like your thinking. And so then we were like, okay, we're going to take care of this, but because we've committed to help him next semester, if we could catch the balance of this semester, then we were like, we'll be able to do it. Now, people are asking, can they still help? You can cash app Pastor Strick at Money Strick. You can cash app him at Money Strick. And so the other thing too, he just was so relentless. And babe, we talked about this. You went to college in your city and you already had an apartment before you went to college. But I know what it's like, and I know how many people I started school with who didn't make it because of reasons like this.
Well, and I remember, like you said, I went to school in the city I lived in. I already had an apartment. I already had a car. I was fortunate in that. But I remember, extending help to people who literally, if I hadn't been able to help them, they wouldn't have been able to stay in school. I remember people sleeping on my couch. Because they didn't have a place to stay, and when you're young, you don't really think that much about it, and you just kind of go on and punch through. But the whole idea of it is that because I was able to do what I was able to do in school, it's helped me to build the life that I've built for my family. And when I hear people talk about, I'm going to go to class anyway, even though they dropped me. There's so many people who just said, oh, well, I'm out this semester, and they just done whatever, But he was like, no, this isn't just for me. I got to go to school because I need to graduate, because in graduating, I can then help my mom and my little brothers and sisters and so forth. And so now, and I know there's millions of stories out there like that, and I wish I could help them all. But I knew I could help this young man, and so that's where I started.
But let me make this pitch here, because you asked me, you said, when we get on here, what am I do? I'm going to do. And I said, I'm going to do what I do. Right. Yep. Well, the thing I'm going to say is now I'm going to make my pitch. This is the reason that I believe every person on this live should make a decision to be unapologetically wealthy. Because unapologetically wealthy, which means whatever we need to learn, whatever we need to do to not just have abundance for ourselves, but to have abundance to be able to help people. And the other thing that I don't like about this, because we out here now, so we might as well share it all, is that when people say after the fact, all of this issue about college don't matter and student loan, it may not matter for everybody, but the reality of it is that the life we live now, had it not been for student loans, had it not been for that, we never would be in this position now, right? And you need to, and I think that what has to happen for many of you, you have to stop being okay with just getting enough for you. And I think that's been game changer for us, right? We were talking about this. One of our other kids was home for Christmas. And he said to us, the thing that I like about you guys is that even though you have money now, you still operate from the mindset of when you didn't have money, which means you have a lot of compassion and empathy for people. And we were just saying that, I like nice stuff. I want you to hear me. I really like nice stuff, but I'm not going to spend $10,000 on a purse when $8,000 keeps a young man from going home, right? So for us, we like nice stuff. We like vacations. We like all of that. For us, the wealth is not just for us to live a good life. The wealth is so we can be a distribution center for God in the earth, so that when someone says, why would you do this? We say, because God loves you and we have an opportunity to minister Jesus, right? And so I'm telling you, I want to challenge you to say, Lord, I'm willing to be unapologetically wealthy. I'm willing to pass the giving test. I'm willing to sit and learn real estate. I'm willing to learn stock market. I'm willing to learn whatever it is that's necessary for me to learn, because there are too many kids and too many people who are down to their last, and there is nobody to help them. And, I think about this, that like my grandmother loved me, but there were just some things she couldn't do. And that wasn't about being a bad money manager. That was about, you just don't have it. And I didn't get to, but you got to talk to the young man's mother. And that was her case, right?
Yeah. And the thing is that anybody who has a child, and you want to help your child any way you can, when you run up against an obstacle that stops you from doing that, that's almost an undescribable pain. And a lot of people, I was talking to the young man, and he was saying he really didn't even mention all of this stuff that was going on to his mother, because he was like, she's at home with my younger siblings, and I'm not trying to put that kind of pressure on her. So here you are, got a 17, 18, 19, I guess it's like 19 now, 19, 20-year-old young man out here who's been going to school, making good grades, but really through no fault of his own, ended up losing his housing. And it's one of those things where one thing happens that compounds the next, that compounds the next, that compounds the next. And all he really needed was for someone to step in and help him get back on track, to help his footing get back on track. And so the reason I asked Pastor Sean to do this live with me is because I wanted to come on and personally say, thank you so much to each and every single one of you. People was asking me why I didn't tag them in the post last night. And I didn't, because really by the time I started talking to him and we were able to get some things worked out through his school, and then he had to sit down and I had to be able to go in and see on his back end and show everything. And by the time we got everything paid, it was late. And I asked Pastor Sean, I said, I really want to help him. I said, but I think this is a good opportunity for other people who I think would want to help him as well. We got some great Facebook friends and family. So do you think it's okay for me to put that out there and to ask for help? And she said yes. And literally within 1 hour, we had about $3,000 of the $6,500 that he needed. It was late. I went to bed. A lot of y'all get up at 5 o'clock. Y'all know I'm retired, so I don't get up at that time anymore. So by the time I got up at 8 o'clock this morning, it was already done. It was already done. The amount of money needed for him, and I haven't told him yet. I wanted to do this.
He doesn't know yet.
He doesn't know yet.
Our kids don't know either.
None of them know yet. And we wanted to do this live to come on and say thank you guys so very much. People were saying, hey, I don't have but $5 or $10. Listen, let me tell you, all of that added up. And I don't care whether you gave $5 or $500. It means everything. And I'm not going to cry on this live, but I appreciate it, because what you did literally not just changed his life, but think about the possibility of what your $5 or $10 donation, your gift, your seed, think about what that did for his life to come. And I know that, again, I recognize and I know that there are probably hundreds, sadly, maybe even thousands of other stories like that happening right now. I just don't know about them all. And if I could fix them all, I would. But this was an opportunity to fix this one. And I just wanted to come on and say thank you guys so very much for helping with it.
Well, and just some add-ons. We were talking this morning that our goal is to get to a place that we have a foundation. You guys know that through the church, we raise the scholarship fund, but we want a foundation so that money can be multiplied, so that we can begin to impact more people. Because the truth of it is that education really is game changer for a lot of us. Nobody's ever going to make me, baby, listen, you never going to make me feel bad about them student loans. Because, honey, if it had not been for them student loans, I wouldn't be here to be able to help him. But the other thing, too, is that there were people who sent money to me instead of Pastor Strick because they knew me. So what we decided is that, because the other thing is that his mother was trying to figure out how to raise the $250 for the housing part. So what we're going to do with the money that was given to me is that we're going to give his mother $1,000 to attempt to alleviate to give some relief to her. So that is what we're doing. Now, somebody said, can we give him a car? I don't know. We have to talk and see, because here's the thing. You don't want to give a kid a raggedy car and then they can't, that's not a win.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, I don't even know. I don't know. I don't know if he has a driver's license. I mean, I don't know. If he's never owned a car, I mean, he may have a driver's license, and then insurance and all that. I think the main thing is getting him back on campus. If we can get him back on campus, make sure that his classes are paid for and that his meal plan is paid for, he can finish school. I mean, it's nice to have a car, but if we can help him so that he doesn't, because he wasn't just working just to work, he was working to pay his tuition. He was working to pay his housing and what financial aid didn't cover. If we can help him do that and give him a semester, so that he can just focus on school, to me, that's great. I don't know about a car. Like you said, we don't want to give him something that's going to be more of a burden.
Right. And what we're going to do right now is take the overage and save it for next semester. So we're going to make sure that he has everything he needs for this semester. And then what we're going to do is we're going to sow $1,000 to his mother. And then the rest, because we told him when we talked to him before we got any of you involved in this, that we would help him, and that if he went to school, that we would help him finish. And guys, sometimes you just need somebody to help you finish. And I was saying to you, babe, that I had a guy like that, W.H. Taylor, W.H. Taylor. And so I love what Allison said. She said we could also do Uber and Lyft gift cards in the event. That's a way, right? And I think that once you have resources, you got to remember, because people would be like, hey, he could have just taken an Uber. You can't take an Uber if you don't have money to take an Uber.
Right.
Right.
If you're working, and I know I think sometimes we just forget maybe, but it costs money to take an Uber or a Lyft. If he's working to pay his tuition and his bills, and he spends money on Uber and Lyft, then he doesn't have money for his tuition and bills. And the fact that he was working 50 hours a week and going to school, and when he explained the situation where, there would be times where he could make it to class, but if he went to class, he couldn't make it to work on time, or he could go to work and then he could work, 5 of his 6-hour shift, but he have to leave for an hour, and he was trying not to get fired. That's a lot of pressure to be juggling,
especially as a kid. That
it's just a lot of pressure. And so that was the thing that tugged at my heart. And I was just like, no one should have to do that. And so if you're going to go to school and you're going to make good grades, you're going to try to do the best you can, I'll forfeit whatever vacation I need to make sure that he can stay in school. And I know I don't have to do that because God's going to provide, but it just meant that much to me.
So if you guys still want to give, you can cash out Money Strick. What's the church's PayPal, babe? Because I don't know it off the top of my head.
Can you don't have cash app, you can send it through PayPal. It does go to the church. The church can make sure that he gets every dime of it. And it is, I think I'll put in the chat, it's focchurchnwa@gmail.com. At gmail.com.
So we just want to say that you guys rock, and we just want to, speak blessings over everybody who gave, everybody who had a desire to give. One of the things that we teach at Fellowship of Champions is that when God looks at our seed, he looks at our collective seed. And so I don't care if you gave $5 or $500, that the total amount goes to all of us. Yeah. And so one of the things we want to tell you to put this expectation on, that whatever you make happen for other people, there is a spiritual law that says God will make happen for you. So you need to have an expectation. Some of you may have young kids. You need to have an expectation when it's time for my kids to go to college or trade school, the money will be there. You need to have an expectation. I will always have housing. You need to have an expectation. I will always have what I need, because and I think this is so important, because a lot of times people who are big givers, they say things like, I give, but I don't expect to receive, except that's a violation of spiritual law. The Bible says if you give, it shall be given, good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over, shall men give into your bosom. Now, we don't have any expectation that this young man is going to do anything for us. Well, we have an
except finish school.
except finish school. We have an expectation that whenever we need whatever it is that we need, that God is going to come through and he's going to raise a man. Now, I want to say this. Some of you may have a call today to sow into this young man. You may have a call today to sow into something else. I want to encourage you to learn to be a quick, prompt to do sower, because how many of you have ever been in a situation that God told you to give and you let it slip? We all have. Yeah. We should do this, but we let it slip, right? And if you think about it, if God is going to use men and women to bless people, it's imperative that we learn to move quickly, because one, when people are believing God, they need a man to show up and move quickly, or a woman to show up and move quickly. But when we're in need, we need somebody to move quickly. So don't just be a sower. Be a quick, cheerful, prompt to do giver. Be a quick, cheerful, prompt to do giver.
You know, I was just reading through the comments. I love that so many people on here have been in similar situations, and they're like, that's the reason why I wanted to give. You know, if you've ever been in a situation where you're doing everything you can to do the right thing, all you're looking for is just somebody who can just give you a little help. And again, I know I've said thank you, but I want to say it again. Thank you to every single person who gave. And listen, I had people who said, I really don't have it to give, but I'm willing to share. I appreciate you just as much. I appreciate you just as much for sharing the broadcast, for sharing the Facebook message, because you shared it. Maybe somebody else gave and it helped us get there. You know, we can do more when we work together. And that's just the truth. And I'm just deeply, deeply moved and appreciative of all of you, because you guys didn't even know the young man. We haven't even said his name, and you guys just your hearts just went out to help him. And I know him and his mother are just going to be absolutely blown away when we tell them.
Let's do one more thing, if you don't mind. This man is in the comments, Nehemiah Lucas. Nehemiah, do you have a Cash App? From the very beginning, he said, I want to help, but I don't have the resources to help. He talked about being in 2 accidents in 2019 and just not being able to get on his feet. He talked about, even in the comments, he said, I wish I lived there. I could at least give him a ride. He said, could we maybe get him a bicycle? Me and my friends might be able to get him a bicycle. And so if you feel led to sow today, can we just, if Nehemiah will put his Cash App up, let's just be a blessing to him. So let's see if he comes back and puts his Cash App up. You know, one of the things that our friend Quantina said about us the other day that she learned when we had the incident at the restaurant is that many people, Nehemiah, drop your Cash App, is that many people, they decide who to help based on whether they think they deserve help or not. And one of the things that we've just learned to do is just to hear God. It's really just to hear God, right? Because even if somebody's in a bad situation, maybe that's the thing that turns their heart to God. Maybe that's the thing that gives them hope, and so they don't want to commit suicide.
And we really don't know how somebody ended up there if you don't take the time to know their story. You can look at someone and make assumptions, but if you don't, it's easy to assume this kid, just didn't do what he was supposed to. But the fact of the matter is, and I told you last night, I said I had never heard of that. But now that I've talked to so many people in the last 12 hours who said, yes, that happened to my daughter, or yes, that happened to me, that this idea that if the school is supposed to be processing my financial aid and the school doesn't process it fast enough, then they will drop my housing and basically give it to someone who's paying. And then when my financial aid comes through, they can say, well, sorry, we don't have any more dorm rooms for you. I'm like, that system is broken. And I know I can't fix that system today, but I was just like, that doesn't seem to make very much sense. But clearly it happens, because I've talked to so many people who said that's happened to them, or it's happened to their kids or someone. And so, one thing can happen and it causes several other things to spiral. And so, yeah, just don't judge. I mean, hear God. I'm not saying you help every single person, but hear God about who you're supposed to help. And then just don't make assumptions about why people are in the situation that they're currently in.
Well, the truth of it is, according to hey, Nehemiah, I need you to look at your Cash App. I just tried. That's not it. But I want you to realize this, that the statistics tell us that most people are just one emergency away from being homeless, one emergency away from having their car repossessed. That if you're really honest, that many people don't have any room to breathe. They don't have any room to breathe. If one thing goes wrong, and I want to say to you is that if you're a person who's no longer in a place where one thing goes wrong can bump you, you may not be where you want to be, but you sure ought to be giving God some praise, because the majority of the world lives in a place that if one thing goes wrong, one paycheck doesn't come, one kid gets sick, that is a problem. And the thing about it is that once you get behind, it's so hard to catch up without help. And that's why everybody else, we need to be like unapologetic about building wealth so that we can help it. Okay, that's the right Cash App. I'm gonna type it in so y'all can see it. I found it. Hey, say something while I'm doing it.
Well, again, I'm just saying thank you. Pastor Sean has some of the other things to say. I was going to come on and just say thank you, because that's really, really what I wanted to say. I appreciate everybody's support. Thank God that there are so many people in the world who are still willing to reach out and be good and help other people. And I know that there's good people out there. I do. I know that. But seeing it happen for someone like that is just amazing, and I appreciate it. So I know Pastor Sean has put Nehemiah's Cash App there. So those who want to be a blessing to him, you're more than able to do that as well. And again, I'm going to go through the comment section on the original announcement. I want to heart and like every single person who gave. I wish I could personally thank every single person at one time. But over the next week or so, I promise you're going to see something from me telling you thank you for giving, because I appreciate it. Somebody mentioned that they didn't have Cash App. That's fine. If you still want to sow, you still want to give, you can give through PayPal. I don't have Zelle. Me and Pastor Sean, for whatever reason, our bank Zelle just doesn't seem to operate right, so I don't trust it. But if you want to give, you can give through PayPal. It'll come to our church, but our church will make sure that he gets every single penny that you give toward that. So if you want to do that, you can give that. It's FOC Church NWA. Baby, if you can type that in the comment section, that'd be great. FOC Church NWA at gmail.com. Or you can give via.
Wait, say it again.
FOC Church NWA, Northwest Arkansas. FOC Church NWA at gmail.com.
You know what? Let me go.
Or you can give via Money Strict, either one.
This real talk. I can tell you about to get. I can tell you about to get petty, because you don't want to cry in front of these people. So we gonna go ahead and go, so you can take me to breakfast, baby. Because listen, I know I can see it happening, because you don't want the people to know that you sensitive and you was all caught up in your emotions about how they done helped this young man. And so I know how you about to act, right? I'll send it to you, Keyshawn. All right, so we thank you guys. I'm gonna post it one more time. Here's his Cash App, and it works because I just did it. Okay.
I think there's a way if you do it. I think I can star it. Maybe it'll pin it. Maybe
it's NJL 2023.
Here it is. I put it on the screen for people who can see it. It looks like NLJ. Is it NLJ?
That's what I said. NLJ,
okay.
didn't
I? Okay, NLJ 2023.
Oh, I done probably said it wrong. Hold on. No, it's NJL. NJL. I probably did it wrong. Listen.
Well,
Okay, guys, stop.
whoever y'all blessed at NLJ, count it as seed. Lord have mercy. Jesus, babe. Lord have mercy.
N as in Nehemiah, J as in Jesus, L as in Lucas, 2023, NJL.
And
Now, I'm sorry about the first
and if
time.
y'all gave to NLJ 2023, maybe request your money back or just count it as seed.
Just counting the seed, but let them people go on and go, okay?
Lord
All right, y'all. I gotta go. I'm hungry. That's what's happening. It's hard for me to read right when I'm hungry.
Lord have mercy. Thank y'all again. Thank y'all so very, very, very much. And I won't promise that the young men will come on and do anything, but if he wants to, I'll do something where he can come on and thank everybody who gave and everything. But
okay, babe, you
just
need to
know
hear this.
I appreciate it.
So Misha Finney Hall, Misha, we went to undergrad together. She lives in Tulsa, and I'm glad I saw this because she reminded me that when Jordan comes over to at least meet, so in case Jordan needs anything while we're there, we can do that.
Perfect. Thank you, Ms. Hall. Thank you. We will definitely do that because she will be coming this fall.
All right. We love you guys so much, and we appreciate you guys so much.
Yeah, Kim Dennis said, hopefully it doesn't exist, right?
If it do, just assume you bless somebody and ask the Lord for your money back. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. All right, babe, feed me. Take me to eat.
Okay, thank y'all so very much. Let me get this off the screen. Thank y'all so very much. Be blessed. Have a great day.
All right, love y'all.